Lights blaze bright, it's a glorious sight. The champ of the mic owns the night. With a mind so slick and a suit so clean, he's running this ring like a wrestling machine. From gold-plated deals to jaw-dropping schemes, he's the mastermind of your wildest dreams. Stand up, take note, bow down if you can. It's the Brilliant Show with the Brilliant One. He's the man.
Welcome into the Brilliant Show. It is the Brilliant One, baby. We got RetroManiac coming up here in just a second. Before we get to him, though, I got a couple things hit out. Mark Out Moments on YouTube. They're live right now. Go check them out. They have several shows a week. Talking Wrestling with Palm Water, Dave, and Amy is always a good one as well. And I can already guess, Steven Dixon, what's up? That's right. What's up, Brilliant One? Not much, brother. Just chilling and getting ready for RetroManiac. We're going to be talking video games. We're going to be talking movies and wrestling. I can't wait. Last night's episode was gold, and we had some fun. And also, don't be shy. Put your comments out there. Ask RetroManiac all the questions you want. You're going to get them. And I want to say this. If you want some, what's up, Ricard? Marcho. You'll find out in a minute what RetroManiac is. That's what you'll find out. And also hit that like button right here on the video. Make sure you hit the like button. Hey, Kylie. And we're going to get to that. But go check us out on Facebook. Subscribe to us for a month. It's 99 cents. We're going to be giving away 2 things of merchandise June 30th. You get to pick whatever 2 pieces of merchandise you want off of the brainbustertees.com. And we're going to be giving that away June 30th, next Monday. So make sure you tune in to that. We're going to have Alexander Overton for that. But without further ado, let's welcome in RetroManiac. What's going on, Retro?
What's going on, man? I know you see that right there, huh?
Oh, yeah, they won the World Series, the College World Series, huh? And you know what's funny about the College World Series? If I'm not mistaken, Coastal Carolina had not lost in like 25 games, and then they lose back-to-back and lose the College World Series.
It's kind of what happens here in Louisiana, man. We defy all odds, and so we break records. That's what we do.
What's up, Chambers? What's going on? What's up, Retro, as Chambers says?
Hey, what's going on, man? Marcho. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Marcho's a little bitter, man. I don't know what's his deal.
He's always bitter. You know, I love Marcho. Marcho's great. And if you want some designs, go check out Marcho Designs. So we'll check into that. I want to jump into this. So we've talked wrestling every night on the Brilliant Show. We talk it every night. So why not? Let's switch it up. I want to talk about video games. I want to jump in to my childhood. What was your favorite console growing up?
Man, my favorite console, I would probably have to say probably the Sega Genesis, just because it was my first console. And I only had 2 games, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is the game that came with it. And then my parents bought me Power Rangers. And so all the other games I would have to go rent. And that's really how most of my childhood consist of with video games, is either going play at a friend's house or going to the rental store and renting video games. And that's how I discovered, your Street Fighters, your Mortal Kombats, Mega Man, all of that.
Dude, I'm gonna go ahead and get a little bit older on you. The NES was my first favorite console. I want to get to this. Jacob, hey, Paul, how are you doing tonight? Chambers, Dixon, we got it. We got something up here. Our Ricard said, I bet that TV makes a high-pitched ringing noise. Who has those kind of TVs anymore?
Gamers, retro gamers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so I go back to the NES days and renting video games because, look, dude, people talk about the price of a video game now. They were literally $60, $70 back in the 80s and 90s on the cartridge.
Oh, Absolutely, man. I remember Doom for the N64 being outrageous. And a lot of these games, the only way you would play them is if you had a rich friend. And I didn't have many of those, but no, a lot of people complain about the prices, especially with the new Mario Kart World being $80. It's not that bad compared when you look at inflation and how things were in the 90s.
Well, you look at the 80s and you're paying $80 for a game cartridge. You had to be rich to do it.
Oh
Because
yeah.
now everybody does it pretty much like a Switch 2 game. But the thing is like back then, the economy was not as booming as it has been in the past. And you wasn't making near as much money. I mean, you was probably making what, $1,000 a month on a paycheck back then.
Yeah.
I mean, on a normal paycheck, payday. So let's see, NSC, Game Boy, Super NES, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Game Boy. I'm going to say this. When I grew up, NES was, what I grew up on, started playing, and I really didn't play wrestling games back then. It was Mario World, Duck Hunt, stuff like that. Super NES is when I really got into the wrestling games, and one of the first wrestling games I got was Super WrestleMania. And
Yeah. Let's see.
I spent hours playing that game.
Someone actually just gave me that game for the Sega Genesis. It's in horrible shape. I haven't even tested it out yet, but there it is right there. If you kind of see it, yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's pretty rough. Man, it's all corroded. But yeah, fun games, man, especially the WWF, that arcade style game. I remember seeing WWF WrestleFest at the bowling
Oh,
alleys. And man, I so kind of jump ahead of myself. That is one of my dreams right now. My goals is to find me a WrestleFest arcade. They're really expensive, really to find one in good shape. But man, I think to find something like that, that would be really cool.
did you see where Bronson Reed? I don't know if you saw the video. Bronson Reed's got one redone that is in his house, and he was just doing a TikTok or a short on Facebook or something, whatever, Facebook reel. And I was like, dude, he has WrestleFest. Yes, Royal Rumble for Sega Genesis. All right, I want to jump into the Royal Rumble real quick because the Royal Rumble for Sega Genesis was one of my favorites. Because here's the thing, I enjoyed playing Royal Rumble on. Yes. All right, so the difference here is, so I had a Super NES. I played the Rumble, and it had Ric Flair on it. I can't remember who else it had on it that was not on the Sega Genesis version. But I got the Sega Genesis version for one reason. And you're going to laugh when I say this.
All right.
It wasn't for Hulk Hogan.
Oh,
It was for Rick the Model Martel.
wow. Okay.
Because he was not on the
Yeah.
SNES version.
And that's the cool thing about playing, if you grew up playing Sega Genesis, it doesn't matter what game, especially like the game like Aladdin. Go try it on the Super Nintendo. It's a totally different game. Power Rangers on the Sega Genesis is a totally different game on the Super Nintendo. And I love how they did that with the wrestling games. Total different roster. So it kind of makes you want to buy both consoles to get both games.
That is exactly what it did. First passed down to me, the first console bought for me was the N64. We're going to get into the N64, Paul,
Oh yeah.
because the N64 had a lot of great games on it, and it was revolutionary. But when I look back at like the Super Nintendo when I was growing up and being able to, and it had, that's it, Tatanka was on the SNES version. That's right. Uh, but the Sega Genesis was great, and I used to go back and forth between the Sega Genesis and the SNES on the video game. I mean, like wrestling games. Now, when it comes to playing certain games on Rick Martel, underrated very well. Rick Martel was underrated, but when it goes to like Super Nintendo, I loved playing like Carnage. I liked playing Doom. There were several, but when it came to Sega Genesis, it was mostly I'm getting the wrestling games on Sega Genesis. Now my wife loved Aladdin on Sega Genesis. She played that to death. She loved that.
Now, if you would have said the Super Nintendo, I would have said that she's got to be like a special type of insane because that game is super hard for the Super Nintendo. It's not actually I prefer it on the Sega Genesis. It looks better, but it's not as difficult. It is insanely hard. If anyone ever played that for the Super Nintendo,
Paperboy for the regular Nintendo was awesome. I
yeah.
like the Super Nintendo version as well. And also, JB, I saw your comment where you said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the hardest game on the NES. No,
Oh,
sir. It was
oh,
hard, but Contra,
yeah.
that one was even worse right there. Contra was, I mean, like, it was unbelievable. Contra was.
Hey, Contra is I think the reason why cheat codes exist, and
Yeah.
the Game Genie. No, actually, I just sold my copy. There was a lady that wanted to buy Nintendo, an original Nintendo system with the duck hunting gun, and it was for her husband for Father's Day, and she asked for Contra, and the only copy I had left was my personal copy, and so I was like, you know what? I don't have the patience to play that right now. Give it to somebody that can appreciate it.
Metroid too. That was a tough one too. On
Yeah.
now, I like Super Metroid better.
Oh yeah. Um,
Super Metroid was one of my jams back then. Let's see what he. I recently bought Indiana Jones game for the SNES. Played it for the first time. So good. It is good. And the thing with the Indiana Jones series, and I liked playing the Indiana Jones, and we may get into this console a little later. The Indiana Jones Lego version on the Xbox 360. I loved that version of it too. So that was good. But and Pit Fighter, golly, bringing up all these names. Kato ruled. Yes. Battle Toads on the that was another hard one. Battle Toads. Do you remember playing Battle Toads?
yes, and I actually have the copy, and I have a rare VHS copy of Battletoads. I've been trying to sell for a few years. If anyone's interested in a VHS, I think it's like a short TV show or something, or maybe a short movie for Battletoads. I have that, and actually, I think I have it on hand down here at the bottom. But yeah,
Oh, hold on. Let's agree. Reskin of Super Mario 2 was atrocious. Yes. I'll say this. You know, when they first came out with Super Mario 2, it was not what it turned out to be. You know, it was a much harder version of the original, really. And then they redid it into this fairy tale land. And I'm not gonna lie, I love Super Mario 2. Super Mario 2 was one of my favorites. Just to kind of it was different from the first. And then the third was legendary. What's your thoughts
oh
on the
yeah.
Mario series?
Well, for the original Nintendo, definitely Super Mario Brothers 3 for me. So I was born in 1990, and I started playing video games when I was around 5, and so I was really going backwards. By the time I was 5, they already had the Super Nintendo, but there was a lot of folks that couldn't afford the Super Nintendo. They still had the Nintendo. It's not like how it is nowadays where, you have hundreds of people waiting outside of GameStop for the new console. But back then it's like, hey, we'll get it when the price goes down, when Walmart drops the price down. So I played Super Mario Brothers probably around Super Mario Brothers 3. I played it probably around 6 or 7. And at this point, I had already played Super Mario World. So it was strange for me going from 16-bit to 8-bit. And so, but I did really enjoy the game. And as an adult, when I play it, I can see why it's so legendary.
Oh yes. RC Pro AM. Yes, I remember playing that. I couldn't drive on it then. I can't drive on it now. So that was back when like Nintendo, every time you turn around, the regular Nintendo had something coming out, like golf. And it was the Nintendo Golf, and then they would have Arnold Palmer Golf, or they would have Magic Johnson basketball, or whatever. They were always coming out with games. Hold
Dude,
on.
everyone had a basketball game, man. Yeah, Magic Johnson. Well, not just basketball. Yeah, everyone had their own sports game. I remember
Yes.
when you get into the Super Nintendo and the N64. Like, man, King Griffey had a game, and then every video game publisher had their own sports game, their own baseball game. It's not how it is today, where like, for example, EA Sports has the license for NFL, so there's only going to be Maddens. There's nothing else. But back then, man, everybody had an opportunity to make the best game they can, and even today, everyone has their preference. Um, Kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but when it comes to football games, I do not like EA Sports. I prefer the 2K games.
I agree. I agree with that as well. Now, like you said, the baseball games were fun. Let me just say this, Chambers. I don't know. I think it was on Super Nintendo. Roger Clemens baseball. And this is what I liked about the Nintendo games. It was so good. Like, okay, you want the licensed names, you want Boston Red Sox, blah blah blah. The Roger Clemens game had made up names. They were like the Boston so and so's. I actually enjoyed those better as well. Yeah. The thing with it is, I enjoyed the made up names that they have with some of these games, and like bases loaded. Those were fun, especially on the Game Boy. Techno Bowl, man, I still play that today. I love that game. I only have one move, and that is the pass. If you get it just
Yeah.
right, you can hit them down deep and then touchdown.
You
So
know
let's.
what's crazy about Tecmo Bowl is they have and I haven't played it, but there's my nephew and all his friends and stuff. They play a game on their phone called like Retro Bowl or something. It's basically the
Yes,
same
yes,
concept,
I've seen
and
that.
it's
Yes.
like it's really cool for me to see how they have the PlayStation 5, they had the Xbox, all these great graphics, but they're going back to 8-bit style. And so that just shows you right there. It's not about the graphics; it's about the fun factor, whether or not you have fun.
Yeah, exactly. I got to point out something though. We hadn't talked about wrestling yet, and that's a good thing.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it up. Am I reading your thing correct? Wes Warren's #1 fan?
Yeah, yeah, he has to have a fan. I mean, and might as well be me. No, here's the thing with Wes is I don't know if it works or not, but I try to get under his skin by just not insulting him or anything, but just being nice to him because he is the cold-blooded one, and I mean he's a phenomenal wrestler. Let's just get that out the way. But I needed a heel, somebody that I can just mess with and have fun, and it couldn't just be any heel. It had to be somebody that was actually really good. And he just about a year and a half ago, he just jumped out on me. And there's some really good heels out there. Koloff is one of them. There's a guy, Michael White. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He is excellent
Oh yeah,
heel.
I had him on my old podcast.
Yeah, but Wes Warren, I saw him, and then I saw him in the Iron Man match. He's actually playing behind me, and I was like, all right, I will never actually, I'm not gonna wear a Wes Warren shirt or anything like that. But I really like this guy, and you could tell there was some kind of chemistry because he would start to especially when he'll walk out for his entrance, he'll come and he'll flick me off or something like that, or he'll tell me things like I suck or something. And but yeah, I'm a fan, but maybe I shouldn't advertise I'm a fan.
There you go. There you go. Well, Sing Pet over here's got a question for you.
All right, yeah.
Let's pull it up. Let me get a Dreamcast. That's what he said.
You know, I've been having a Dreamcast for Mr. Sing Pit for a while, but he blocked me on Facebook when I had my personal page.
Well, then he likes you if he blocked
Oh,
you.
that's what it is.
Yes.
Let's see. Just so he knows I'm not pulling his leg or anything like that. There you go.
Look at there, Sing Pet. Dreamcast. Uh, Contra, Super C. Tony Hawk on Dreamcast. I'm gonna just say this: Tony Hawk on Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, whatever it was. I loved it. The collection behind the dude looks awesome. MT2, it is awesome. The
Let's
dude's
see.
he's RetroManiac. He's got it all, baby. Look at that.
Let's see. Gonna flash it around a little bit. Then you'll see my wrestling memorabilia on the back wall right there.
So
Trying to stay
that
humble.
is yeah. Well, that's awesome. All right, so let me get back into some wrestling video games because we talked about like Super Nintendo, like the regular Nintendo. All of them were the same, but I played them anyway. But when we get into the Super Nintendos, I talked about Super WrestleMania, but Super WrestleMania didn't have finishers. The first video game to have finishers was Royal Rumble. I loved
Yes.
Royal Rumble. My my favorite game though, even though I loved Royal Rumble, my favorite game on the Super NES when it come to wrestling was WWF Raw. I love that game. It was just one of those games that just really the Konami code. That was what Contra got you. Yes,
Yeah.
that's my favorite game right there. Unlock the unblock the man and get a Dreamcast.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Uh,
that simple. Matter of fact, it was last September, I want to say, AWA had the celebration show, and I brought a Dreamcast. But Sing Pit, man, he was talking a lot of trash online, so I ended up giving that Dreamcast to somebody else. And
well, that's what Sing Pet does. He talks
yeah,
trash. He does. He's retired though.
he's
Remember to hit
retired.
that like button on this video. Oh, Vladimir Koloff has chimed in. SNES and Sega.
I
So
wouldn't expect anything different from him. He's a little bit of a Mario fan, I've been told.
a little bit, you say?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think I might have saw something on his forearm there. I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing
mushroom.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, seeing things. But make sure you hit that like button. Eating dinner. That's what you're always doing, Sam. Do you not eat? I mean, it's not going to hurt you to miss a meal. All right, miss a
Is
meal,
that the
Humpty
guy?
Dumpty.
Is that the guy? Yeah, that's the guy you call Humpty Dumpty. Yeah, he's seems like a nice
Yes,
guy,
yes, it
man.
is.
He's
Does he?
I don't
There's a
know.
lot of people that seem nice that are not really nice. Now Sam's a nice guy.
You know, there's a lot of people that I thought were nice guys, especially in your neck of the woods. And then I've been told no, they're not nice guys. So no, actually I you tend to kind of learn yourself. So
Oh yeah, you have to learn. You have to see. I don't judge people until I've been around them. You know, if somebody
yeah.
dislikes somebody, doesn't mean I dislike them, and then I meet them, and then I like them. I like them. If I don't, I don't. Uh, SNES superior to Sega. I'll say this. To me, it was too. Now you may disagree because Sega was your first console, really, but the SNES was legendary to me, man. It was legendary. Now I loved Sega. Don't get me wrong, but all right. So I want to jump into it. Did you play any wrestling games on the SNES?
I did. I did. Matter of fact, Royal Rumble was the one. Now I had a neighbor that had a Super Nintendo. Matter of fact, I didn't have a Nintendo. Well, a Game Boy that does count. I had that, but as far as a Nintendo console, I didn't have one until maybe 3 years ago. I finally got my very own Nintendo. It was a 64. Now I always played Nintendo, but it was either at a cousin's house, next door neighbor. Well, anyway, so I did play Royal Rumble, and my next door neighbor had it, and he rented it at our local video store, and then he liked it so much that his mom ended up buying it for him. So we played that a lot, and it was totally different than anything that I was used to seeing, but it was fun, and you can literally play for hours. And it was one of those things that you don't even have to be a wrestling fan. Matter of fact, I want to say at that time, I really wasn't even a wrestling fan. I didn't become a wrestling fan until probably 97, which if we get into that, I could talk
Oh, we're
about
gonna
that.
get into it. Don't worry.
Okay. But yeah, so one of the things when I was a kid, before I was a wrestling fan, was wrestling was so big. It was everywhere. It was part of pop culture. You know, didn't watch Hulk Hogan wrestle, but man, you saw him on almost every kids movie. You know, it just you saw him on TV, and just wrestling was just all over the place. And video games was a big part of that. And so, not a wrestling fan at the time, but I play Royal Rumble, and it's like this is pretty cool. This is fun. Don't know who these guys are. They look silly, but I'm enjoying myself.
Oh, I loved it, man. I loved Shawn Michaels was my favorite on Royal Rumble on the SNES. JB brings it up. Do we agree that the Nintendo Virtual Boy was bad. Yes, we do agree with that.
Oh,
It
dude.
it was awful.
Yeah, it'll fry your retina.
But the thing is, like when they came out with that, that was innovative, and you thought we were going to go somewhere because you were seeing like I don't know if you ever watched Lawnmower Man 2, where they were doing the
Oh, yeah.
virtual reality and stuff like that, and then like I'm sitting here going, man, that would be so awesome. They come out with the Virtual Boy. I can't remember what it was. There was some kind of little game that had like Tekken on it, and you put it over here. It had that one little lens there. It was kind of like the Virtual Boy, but it wasn't the Virtual Boy. And you could play not Tekken. What was it? Virtual Fighter. Virtual
Oh,
Fighter.
yeah.
And you could play it on that, and that was kind of cool. But nowadays they could probably do it pretty easy.
The interesting thing about the Virtual Boy or even the Power Glove for that matter, the
Mhm.
idea was there. It's just they didn't have the technology at the time. You think about nowadays with the Oculus and just 3D games and stuff like that. Um, the Power Glove, think about when the Nintendo Wii came out. And so the idea was in the right direction, but just not unfortunately for Nintendo, they didn't have the technology. But they stayed true to their formula and they eventually was able to
Yeah,
succeed. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they came a long way. Nintendo still has. I mean, it's still stuck in kind of the old age with the Nintendo stuff, but that's what sells.
Yeah.
Sega Game Gear was great. Sega Game Gear was great, but Sega Game Gear was also ahead of its time.
And the thing about Sega Game Gear is it's a great console today if you could find a working one. They were put together
Yeah.
with some cheap parts and the capacitors are known for going out and that's one console that I don't own. It's not because I can't get my hands on one. It's just I want to get one that's for sure going to work, that's had all the capacitors replaced. And so but yeah, that's on my list. I remember very fondly playing one as a kid and it's one of those things that like I'm gonna get one day. I'm 35 years old, still haven't, but that one day will come.
Oh, no doubt. Well, here it is. All right. So we named it Royal Rumble is your favorite on the SNES, right?
Wrestling games, yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. So wrestling games. Mine was WWF Raw. I love Royal Rumble, but that's going to call a close second. So I like Raw. What was your overall favorite game on the SNES?
I would have to say, and I actually have it right here, and it's the reason why it's my favorite all time. Now, I wouldn't say when I was a kid it was my favorite, but it's throughout time it's my most played game, and I still play it today, and that is Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And
Oh, one of
so
my favorites. That's my favorite too.
yeah. I love it so much that I actually have it for the Super Nintendo as well as the Genesis, but I will warn you, it is better on the Super Nintendo. And I think it might have been Koloff said Nintendo has never been a hardware company, but when it comes to quality sound, the Super Nintendo is far superior over the Sega Genesis. I love the Sega Genesis because of nostalgia, but which one's the better console? It's not even close. It's the Super Nintendo. And so I have no problem admitting that. But yeah, when it comes to my favorite, definitely Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Matter of fact, my son, he'll play with me. His attention span's a lot shorter, but he'll play.
Oh, I love Zombie Ate My Neighbor. Steve O'Malley, I'm about to get to this because that is a good question. And we're talking about movies, we're talking about retro stuff. Did you see The Wizard?
I do. I did, should I say. I actually have the poster on my wall right here. So yeah, it's for a lot of folks, it's the wizard that introduced the Power Glove to North America. So
Jurassic Park was better on SNES. Yes, I'll say that too.
yeah.
Jurassic Park was better on SNES than Sega. When I got to Zombie Ate My Neighbors, man, like you just keep going and going and going. I never beat it, and I was so determined to beat it. I finally gave up because it just never ended. Uh, and you said you had not ever beat it too, right?
No,
But
no,
it's always
never.
fun to play, though, right?
So the thing about Zombies Ate My Neighbors is like many games, when you would achieve a certain level or you beat a level, you'll get a passcode. So what I would do is I had a little journal, a notebook, and I would write my passcode down. And whenever I was ready to play again, you can input that passcode, and you'll be able to um, continue where you left off. And so the thing with Zombies Ate My Neighbors is when the internet came around, it was dial up, but you get on the internet and man, you can look up all the passcodes to skip around to whatever level you want. And that's what a lot of times that's what I did. So I would, especially when it came to Zombies Ate My Neighbors, I wouldn't play from start to finish. It became a lot of skipping around.
Oh, exactly. Co-op brought up a good one. Sega's sound is a little underrated. It really is. When you look back at the sounds of the SNES and you look at the sounds of the Sega, they are a little underrated. With Sega is a little underrated in that category.
They are, but Super Nintendo is they're definitely the king. They have the crown when it comes to better sound quality.
I do, man. When the Game Genie came out,
Yeah.
oh, that was the game, man. They were selling them like hotcakes
Oh
back
yeah.
in the day too. Mega Man series was good. I know a few people that like the Mega Man series. Killer Instinct on the SNES, that was good. That was really good. We didn't even get into the Mortal Kombat series. Was you a Mortal Kombat fan growing up?
Oh,
And did you play it on the SNES or anything like that? Or the Sega was better because of blood and everything?
yeah. Well, that's where I was gonna go. I played on both. Now this once again the sound quality is much better on the Super Nintendo, but man, that the blood effect on the Genesis, the one thing about the Sega Genesis is you needed to get a controller with the six buttons. If not, man, you're gonna get blisters all on your fingers and stuff. But it's a,
Yeah.
it's a lot more difficult to pull off a combination. But it's one of those things where you can play on both consoles and still get a really good experience. And I would say maybe even a different experience.
Yeah, very much a different experience because, like, Mortal Kombat 2 was the green. You got the green slime basically instead of
Yeah.
the blood. Uh, Favorite SNES track?
Oh man.
We've already heard that sing, Pat.
I will tell you what, and Koloff has something to do with this. My favorite soundtrack would probably have to go to Mega Man. And I was not really big into Mega Man, but then I found out Koloff, that was one of his favorite franchises. And so through researching Mega Man X3, super expensive. So at that time, I never even played the game before, and so through research and just trying to figure out is it even a good game or is it just super expensive? And no, the Mega Man X series has some really good music for a video game, and so I'll probably maybe it's a little bit of recency bias, but I'll probably have to say Mega Man.
Look at you. Look at you. Okay. JB said Blood Code. Nick Wonder. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 Cybolt was broken. Was he?
I'm not sure. I didn't play a lot of Mortal Kombat 3.
I didn't either.
But I
I
want to
remember
say
2
that,
was my favorite, though.
yeah, definitely two. Two is the one where I have the most memories and
Yeah.
probably most nostalgic for. I think by Mortal Kombat 3, I probably moved on to something else.
When it got to Mortal Kombat, the only thing, like, when we got to the PlayStation, I played Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the PlayStation. And honestly, I don't even remember Mortal Kombat 3. I mean, I know it was there. I just don't remember ever playing it like I did Trilogy because my main one, I love Mortal Kombat 1. That was great. Mortal Kombat 2 come out and like I'm in love. This is my favorite game of all time. And then you get to the 3. I don't even remember if I was playing it during the Ultimate, Mortal Kombat 3. Then we get to Trilogy and I played it. And so, yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat was a goat on there. So let's.
Well, Before we move on, I'll tell you one thing that and this is gonna maybe I'm in the minority here, but one thing about Mortal Kombat that I enjoyed even more than the game was the movies. Now, some would say they're cheesy, but man, when you're a kid in the 90s, dude, that was right on my alley. The music, man, just even today, we had a show at Pro Wrestling 225 Power Up. And man, when I heard that Mortal Kombat theme playing, man, it just got me going. It got me pumped up. So when it came to Mortal Kombat, that movie, I don't care how horrible it is, I'll still watch it today.
I love Mortal Kombat the original. The Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat original movie is great, but you're gonna laugh at me when I tell you a great video game movie.
Okay.
All right, you ready for it? Because nobody loves this movie. I'm the only one that loves this. Actually, there's two movies that I love that nobody else loves. I loved the Super Mario Brothers movie when it came out with John Leguizamo in it. I loved Double Dragon movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? Those B movies. I have one that's special to my heart as well. They just hit different when you grew up in that era. It's not
yeah.
how it is nowadays. But the movie that I liked that was is still kind of cheesy, but it's called The Phantom. Have you ever
Yep.
watched it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it ever went into like theater or anything like that, but used to pop up on TV all the time. I don't know if it was like TNT or whatever, TBS, but oh, dude,
That's another movie I like too. Street Fighter.
yeah,
Everybody hated it. I liked it. I guess it was just because I grew up in that time too, and I loved it.
yeah,
My thing with Double Dragon was, all right. I used to play Double Dragon in the arcades. I used to play Double Dragon on the NES, the Super NES, and when that movie come out, I know it was cheesy, it was crazy, but I loved it. I just enjoyed it, and but Street Fighter was another one. I thought they could have done a little more with Street Fighter the movie, but I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it.
You know, the thing that makes me think back on, especially like the superhero movies or video game based movies that we got back then, we was just happy they came out with a movie based on it. I mean,
Exactly.
we didn't nitpick every little detail or like, oh, they didn't pick the right actor. They didn't pick this guy. And I think about the Mario movie, man. Just I mean, now that they have the new one that came out, yeah, it's a lot more accurate. But back then, we was just happy that we got a live movie I can't talk adaptation of the video game. So it's one of those things. Beggars can't be choosers.
Oh, exactly. And man,
Yeah.
like, man, when the Mario game came out, it had nothing. The movie was nowhere close to the video game, really,
Oh,
but it entertained me. And when I look at things, I'm not trying to. All right, so you hear people complain all the time about something. Mainly wrestling fans. They complain about everything that happens on Monday Night Raw or everything that happens on SmackDown or AEW or whatever. Here's my thing. Technically, Surf Ninjas was a video game. All right, Nick Wonder, explain that one to me. I need to know because that was one of my favorite movies growing up too. But anyway, like people want to hate on stuff. They want to talk about this and that. They don't try to just sit down and enjoy it. They don't try to take everything out of their mind and just watch it instead of saying, oh, I got to find something to hate or otherwise it's not, any good. So when we sit back and we watch Super Mario Brothers, the movie, or Double Dragon, like you said, I was immersed in it just because, man, I'm glad we got a video game that's a movie. Like now I get to live
yeah.
out vicariously through this movie what the video game was. And I just loved it. And I know
Hey,
they do it all the time now, but
I think the biggest thing, and you mentioned with the movies and you compared it to wrestling, but how it is nowadays, I mean, the internet is so accessible where you can just read other people's opinions. And a lot of times, those opinions aren't necessarily yours, but if you read it enough, it's going to give you that perception. And you're going to say, oh, well, if everybody said Monday Night Raw is crap, then it must be crap. And same thing with movies. If especially back in the 90s when we watched Mario Brothers, we didn't hear all the critics or everybody saying on Facebook how horrible of a movie it was. We just went in there and made an opinion for ourselves. And we might say,
Exactly.
yeah,
Like we didn't catch up with the critics. Like it's everywhere now. All right, the kid used a Sega Game Gear to fight in the movie. Sega made a game that came out before that provided partially funded movie. Oh, okay. Well, Surf Ninjas. Did you ever see that?
I have not.
Oh gosh, you.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you got to go back if you get a chance. I think it was on Tubi or, and Tubi's free by the way.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can go
I know.
check it out. So I think it's on Tubi, dude. Like I loved that movie when I was growing up. Surf Ninjas, the Three Ninjas, all that stuff. I even like Magic Kid. I don't even know if anybody would remember what Magic Kid was. It was like a B-rated movie, and I enjoyed watching it. It was kind of like a Disney movie too. All right, so let's see here. We're gonna get into some other consoles in a second. Lara Croft Tomb Raider movies weren't great, but solid. Yeah, they weren't, but I really wasn't a Tomb Raider fan either, so I can't really speak on it. Was you a Tomb Raider fan?
Not really. I remember when the first one came out into theater, and I tried watching the movie. It just didn't catch my interest because I wasn't connected to the video games. Um, I remember for PlayStation, they used to come out with these demo discs quite often, and I tried getting into Tomb Raider, just playing the demos, and it never really caught my interest. Not saying it's a bad franchise or anything, but that's the beauty about video games, just like wrestling. There's a little bit of flavor for everybody, you know. If you're not into this genre, you might be into this. And so, you mentioned about, modern day wrestling. There's so much, the AEW fans versus the WWE fans versus the independent only fans. And it's just like, man, it's whatever you get down with, you know. That's the beauty about it, having that variety.
It really is. And why hate on somebody because yes, people look at me and I post some questions on here about like AEW and stuff. I don't hate AEW. I'm not a big fan of WWE. I'm not going to hate on any wrestling. I enjoy it. Independent, the AEW, WWE, MLW, whatever you want to call it. I'm just, I look at it now and I'm like, man, if I'd have had this when I was like 10, I would have never slept. Like, because you have so much access to wrestling. Like
And
back in my day, VHS was it.
yeah. And that here's the thing, man, you can't keep up with it all. And I'm
Mm-mm.
even like that, and maybe we'll get into it about independent wrestling, but all these promotions popping up, and a lot of your favorite independent guys are, they go wrestle for these companies, but there's so much that you just can't even keep up with it, even on the regional level. And I'm definitely not trying to do it on the I guess on the higher platforms, the AEWs and the WWE. I think I watched Raw last night for the first time in 2 weeks, and I only watch it because my son's into it, and he'll keep up with the Cody Rhodes and all of that. But it's just too much, and so you need to find what you like, and you just and you watch it, you invest in it.
Oh, exactly. And VHS tape trade, I may get into that shortly, Chambers, because I was big into that. But let's go back here. I had Nick Wonder, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. All right, I'll go ahead and jump into it. Was it the Nintendo 64? I loved that version, but I also loved the PlayStation 2 version. I think it was the PlayStation 1. Uh-oh, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. One of my favorite games to play was Tony Hawk. I loved it, but I also loved like Matt Hoffman's BMX and Dave Mira's BMX too. I was always into the X Games sports stuff. All right, what you got?
I
Tony
prefer it
Hawk.
on the Dreamcast, yeah. But yeah, and the thing about Tony Hawk was so much more than just a skateboarding game. It's the soundtrack, man. It's just and during that time is when those extreme sports was really getting popular, with the X Games and just skateboarding was cool. Now it's like, you got your electric scooter or those little hoverboards or whatever. But man, skateboarding was just really cool. And I mean, they had TV shows for kids like Rocket Power. And so yeah, Tony Hawk, man. This is probably my favorite.
All right. Mac Dank. I know who it is. You ain't got to tell me who you are, McReynolds. I know who you are. One of my best friends, man, growing up, and we had a lot of fun together. He said, "You remember when you sold me your Xbox for $50? That got me into Xbox because I loved it." Oh man, dude, I remember that very well. But I remember a lot of things that we did. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Do you remember that night that me and Jessica come busting up that old dirt trail, and you and Daniel were sitting in your car, and you thought it was the cops? Just hope you get a laugh out of that one. Let's see here. Yeah, we're gonna get into the tape trade. Nick Wonder, Dreamcast was underrated. It was. It was very underrated. It was very ahead of its time as well. And unfortunately, the controller was garbage. Yeah, well, that came with it. The controller looked cool though,
It
and
did.
they didn't get hardly any 3-party titles. No, they really Unreal Tournaments though. Yeah, I mean, what's your experience with the Dreamcast?
So when I was growing up and the Dreamcast came out, my mind was not on the Dreamcast. It was all on the PlayStation 2. And once I got the PlayStation 1, I didn't care about anything else. And then I was a Sony guy from that point on. And then so I didn't know many people that had a Dreamcast. The only ones, especially that I went to school with that had Dreamcast, were probably your your ones that were real big into arcade games, are just like diehard gamers, and they had multiple consoles. Man, they had the, not only did they have the Dreamcast, but they had the PlayStation 2, they had the Xbox, they had the GameCube. But yeah, I didn't know many people that had the Dreamcast, but that's something that I started playing later on. And you just basically grew an appreciation for it. Like, man, I can't believe it never really took off. And it's the last console that Sega came out with. And but it has its specialty, and I would say arcades is definitely it. Probably more on the Sega Saturn, but like I said, the Sega Dreamcast definitely has its place. And I'll tell you another fun game. Is the NFL 2K series on the Dreamcast,
Oh
with
yes,
with
that
Randy
was
Moss on the cover. Man, it was at that
Randy Moss, my
time
favorite
that
player.
was that was a premium game for football, and having the Vikings and throwing it up to Randy Moss was literally a cheat code. And so let's see. Steven said, "Did I go to the arcades much?" Uh, I didn't go. Where I lived, there was a small town, and we didn't have a designated arcade. We had washaterias, we had bowling alleys, we had skating rinks, and that's where I enjoyed most of my arcades.
What's up, Silicon Dave? And look who is in here. Ain't no way. You know why he's saying ain't no way? Because he can't say yeet. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, Ray.
yeah. You know, this is probably going to discredit me for being an independent fan, but I have never watched a Ray Fury match live. I like
Well, you
what.
need to.
Well,
He's a great talent.
I will July 12th. He's going to be in Morgan City at Gulf State Wrestling's Cajun Heat, and I've messaged
Good to
him.
see
I've
you
watched a
too,
lot of his stuff.
Mick
What's
Reynolds.
that?
I was Mac Dank said, "Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. And if you're ever, where, hit me up. We need to get together, man." But anyway, our Ray Fury match, gotta see him. He's great. And
Yeah.
Ray, I got something for you coming up soon as well.
The thing about Ray Fury is a lot of people, probably pretty much everybody but one person, tells me that I should watch him live. There's one person saying I would just be wasting my time. You could probably guess who that is.
Yeah, Vladimir Koloff.
Oh yeah, man. You ask him like, "What about Ray Fury?" And he has a colorful choice of words in his response.
He always does. He does.
Yeah.
Silicon Dave. I like Silicon Dave. He's just great. Dreamcast was great at the time because it had a jailbreak to play burn disc games easily. That was always something everybody tried to learn too. Now you can jailbreak anything, but you couldn't
Yeah.
jailbreak stuff back in the day like that hard. It was hard to
Well,
do.
funny story is Dreamcast games. especially in 2025, it's very expensive to collect.
Look
And
who's in the
so,
chat now. Look who's on there now.
oh yeah, wow. Well, anyway, so Dreamcast games are it's just extremely expensive to collect. So even today, I have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 bootleg or burnt, and Sonic Adventures 2, and so oh yeah, yeah, shame on me.
Oh man. Well,
Should
yeah.
White call us nerds? I bet you he was a nerd. He tries to be all gangster and stuff, but hey, what's this? Let me
A
borrow a Game
Game
Boy Color.
Boy
I got you,
Color.
should. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with him. I mean, if he wants a Game Boy Color, there you go, should. Thing is, if
Game.
he borrows it, I probably won't get it back, right?
I mean, do you care if you get it back? Don't you
Uh,
like your arms and your bodies?
well, isn't he like from New Orleans, right? So he's yeah, I'm not getting it back.
Man, I wouldn't even. It wouldn't matter if he was from New Orleans or if he was from some podunk town in Mississippi. I ain't stepping up to him. I can tell you that now. Uh, so look at this fire. Shug's up in here, and when Shug's in here, you got to kind of keep your cool, because Shug gets crazy, and you don't want him losing. He's unstable. Did I say I'm on live? Oh, let me keep that down. But anyway, do you have a Dreamcast? I think we talked about it, Jamie, but Jamie just tuned in.
Yeah.
Show it to him. There it is. All right.
Now,
So
Sing Pit says he wants it. We'll see. We'll see how that works out.
this guy talking trash about Suge White in New Orleans. Hey, look, we're not talking trash about Suge
No,
White.
I'm
We wouldn't do
acknowledging him.
that. He's acknowledging him. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about, I said Raw. You said Royal Rumble. Favorite wrestling game on the NES, SNES. Let's move on to the PlayStation 1 / Nintendo 64. Now let's go with PlayStation 1. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there because I know this is going to sound dumb. My top three
Okay.
is WCW versus the World. And
Okay.
remind me in a minute, and I'll tell you why I like this game, and you're going to really laugh.
All right.
Second is Warzone. Everybody hated Warzone. I loved it. It had the entrances
Yeah.
in the story mode. I popped when that happened. Third is WWF Attitude. That was my number one on PlayStation. I also like Nitro, and that. So what's yours?
Well, I'm actually very surprised with your picks, but hey, if that's the ones you played and you just have attachment to, then that's a great list. Number one for me, which is like I said, I didn't own a Nintendo console until just maybe 3 years ago, but I did play a lot of this game, and this is number one. And
No,
so
no. PS1.
you said
Not. I said PS1 / N64, but I said let's go with PS1 first.
okay, all right.
No. We're gonna get into those. That's my favorite part. N64
All right,
had
all
the
right,
greatest
all right.
wrestling games of all time.
So for the PlayStation 1, which one's my favorite? SmackDown 2. And I'll tell
forgot
you
about
why.
the SmackDown series being on there. I forgot about that.
SmackDown 2 and SmackDown 1 made it much easier and just overall much more enjoyable to play wrestling games, man. It was especially was it Attitude and um, might have been Warzone that dude, it was just so hard to try to pull off a move and
It was hard to pull off
yeah.
moves in those, and you're right with the SmackDown. The reason I said Attitude, because I forgot about the SmackDown, but Attitude was because that was the first full-fledged entrance. You create your own arena, create your wrestler, and create a pay-per-view on that. But anyway, continue on with SmackDown.
Yeah, and then number two, just because nostalgia, and I was a WCW fan. I didn't migrate to WWF until probably '99, when and this is probably towards the end of 1999, going into 2000, where you could kind of see some really off the wall things happening with WCW. So I switched eventually. Well, I was one of those guys that would flip back and forth on Mondays, but for my second favorite, it would have to be Mayhem, and just because I'm a WCW kid,
Yeah.
and
I like
but
that game too.
it's not a bad game. It's just at that point WWF was really pulling away with the video games. And for number
Now,
three, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no. I was just looking at this. Now continue on.
And for number three, not the best game, but it was one of the first wrestling games I owned, and I played a lot of it, and that is Nitro.
I love
You
Nitro,
see?
and then you can unlock all the wrestlers. You know, like 1,000 wrestlers on this damn game, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
including characters
Tyrannosaurus
from the
Rex, and
from the brand. All right, no, I'm gonna just say this: ECW is not better. I enjoyed the ECW game, but it was not better. All right, now we're gonna get into the debate.
all right,
N64.
okay,
I want you to do this first because you're gonna be. Oh, I forgot to tell you why I like WCW versus the World on the PlayStation 1.
okay.
Secret character, Jeff Jarrett. That's the reason I like that.
And
So
you're a Jeff Jarrett fan, so that makes sense, right?
I'm not a Jeff Jarrett fan.
Oh,
I love those hidden characters. I was
all
sold
right.
on the hidden characters. Backstage Assault was not a video game. Get out of here with that shit. Excuse my language on that one, Jeff. Richard, but get out of here with Backstage Assault. That wasn't a wrestling game. Crash Bandicoot, WCW Mayhem, WCW, ECW Anarchy Rules.
Yeah, if we're
Anarchy
talking,
Rules.
yeah, if we're talking just PlayStation games, yeah, a lot of the ones that Brett mentioned are some staples. Matter of fact, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. Though now, if we were talking about all PlayStation games, you would have got a much different list. But just wrestling games, definitely have to be the ones I mentioned.
Yeah, we're getting into wrestling games. We can't get into everything because we'll be here
Yeah.
all night.
Oh yeah.
And we're definitely going to do this again because I enjoy this. We have to have a peaceful night. I like peaceful nights. But anyway,
Yeah, man.
so let's get to the next one, the N64. I want you to give me your top 3 wrestling games on N64. I'm going to give you mine. I think I'm going to just go ahead and throw this out there. Me and you are going to agree on this. But
Okay.
go ahead. You go ahead with go from 3 to 1.
All right, let's go with number three. I'm gonna go with WrestleMania 2000, and the reason why is because and all three of my picks are made by the same publisher. And so AKI, or I mean, to me, they at that time they made the best wrestling games. And I don't care if it was just a reskin of the previous one, but each game got better and better. But for number three was WrestleMania 2000. And then for second is, I mean, this is number one on most people's list. It's No Mercy, and it is the better of the I guess the bunch. But for me, number one is Revenge, just because I was a WCW guy, and the cool thing I loved about all three of those games was the customization. Man, you can they had entrances, but man, you can create your basically almost any wrestler you wanted, and for back then. So I mean, nowadays the customization is so far advanced, but back then in the '90s, I mean, like I said before, beggars can't be choosers. You learn to appreciate what you have.
You do. Have I played AEW Fight Forever? I have, and it does have that No Mercy kind of AKI
Yeah, I've
feel.
heard people say Aki or Aki or
Yeah,
AKI.
Aki, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I have played it. It's okay, but it's not the games. All right. Well, guess what? You want to know something?
let's hear it.
We had the same list on that one. And that's why I said I already knew it was going to go there. Here's my thing. No Mercy everybody touts as the greatest game of all time. I will give it that. All right, I will give No Mercy that, but WCW NWO Revenge tops it because it was first, and that's the game I fell in love with. That, man, I would sit there and play that thing for days. So for me, it's going to be WCW NWO Revenge, number one greatest wrestling game of all time. Second, and I will say this, No Mercy was expanded. It was great. It gave you so much storyline. It gave you so many storylines in that game that even the games today can't compare to it.
Oh no. Matter of fact, I would say that's where wrestling games are lacking right now is with a good story mode. It's
Yep.
I mean, people complain about it uh with every 2K game that comes out is like we just want what we used to have, a real good deep story mode.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it can be. No, no, don't get me mad on here. Don't
Yeah.
get me.
We might have to
WCW
break
Revenge was the
we might have
greatest.
to break out a meme.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a meme on this one. WCW is the reason why I know anything about wrestling. Exactly, exactly. All right, so here's my thing. WCW NWO Revenge, greatest game ever. And I remember being in school. I'm gonna just go back and tell a story on this real quick. And me and this guy was arguing because we were both big wrestling fans. We were both going to get WCW NWO Revenge. I bought it at Game Boutique. I think that's what it was called. It turned into GameStop, but it was videos, whatever. It was something boutique. I bought it, and the dude was arguing, I'm going to get it on PlayStation. I said, it's not on PlayStation. It's only on N64. No, it's not. It's on PlayStation. And then he went to get it, and he's like, you're right. It was only on N64. And it was. The greatest game to me of all time is WCW NWO Revenge on the 64. Then you got No Mercy, which had the expanded storytelling, great wrestlers. You know, it was just great. And then really close is WrestleMania 2000. I loved WrestleMania 2000. Another one of those great looking where the entrances look so great. Yeah, it is the single best, but I'm just saying Revenge come first. Revenge is the best to me.
Yeah,
They're
across
going
the
to kill
board,
me.
no mercy. Yeah, they're I mean, if we had a vote in the chat, No Mercy would probably be number one. But Revenge, I mean, it's my number one. And so and another thing about Revenge is, and it wasn't just the video game. WCW had all the exciting cruiserweights. And man, I loved playing with Ultimo Dragon, La Parca, Psychosis, Juventud Guerrero. WWF didn't really have much of that. So
Yeah, they really didn't. And then but now when you get to No Mercy, you got Eddie Guerrero and them on there as well, like S.A. Rios and stuff like that. Revenge is okay to be wrong. Okay, okay, okay.
he's been
I'm not
telling me
gonna
that a
argue
lot
on
lately.
that. There's only 30 wrestling games on the 64. No, there's not. You got WCW Nitro on the 64. You got
There's
Warzone
Mayhem as
on the
well.
64, Mayhem, but you really do have only three. You got WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy,
And there's
and
World Tour too.
World Tour. Underrated. I liked
Yeah.
it. It even had the round robin tournament on there. I
See,
love like that stuff.
what bothered me though is like your big guys, your giants were the same height as your
Everybody else, yeah.
yeah, and then Scott Hall's finisher, the Razor's Edge or whatever he called it in WCW, he didn't do it right, and so it was more of a sit out power bomb type thing, and that bothered me. So, but
Yeah,
we,
Warzone was on there too.
yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the thing with that. You're right. Everybody was the same height. And then, like, Scott Hall's finisher in that was like, put them up like this, and then you go into a sit down power bomb. It wasn't like the real Razor's Edge kind of deal where you just dropped him. but I love the round robin tournaments because I'm a tournament guy. So I love the round robin tournaments and the WCW versus NWO or WCW versus the world. However, how they did stuff. That was always great. Mayhem, better Mayhem was World Tour definitely underrated. It was very underrated. How about this one? Is
Yeah.
your house
Let's see. It's not in the top three, but it's up there.
in your house? And that's arcade style. Remember the WrestleMania arcade one? It's kind of like the Mortal Kombat of wrestling video games. And I remember playing WrestleMania the arcade game. Do you got that one?
Let's see.
Because In Your House
Yes.
was second, and it was good too, though. But there it is. There it is. I love those games too. In Your House was fun. I loved In Your House. I remember playing it on the PS1 a lot. And I was just kind of like, because I love the traditional wrestling game. And then I get In Your House, like the arcade style, Mortal Kombat style. And I'm just like, I played it a few times and then I fell in love with it after that.
But back when we were growing up, especially in the '90s with these wrestling games, it didn't have to be super realistic.
Mm-mm.
Just the fact that you're playing with a wrestler that you see on TV, that's what mattered. I mean, it was about having fun. Now, of course, everything has to be realistic. They have to have the right entrance. They have to have the right moves. Everything. I mean, there's people that get upset if their attire isn't updated. Oh, that's his attire from 2 years ago. But man, back playing, especially those arcade styles, it was just really about having fun. And I get in a mood from time to time. Like I said, I still want to get WrestleFest, the actual arcade cabinet. And if I'm not
Um,
mistaken, I want to say there's like some type of re-release that's coming out. The company One Arcade One, no, one Arcade Up or
yeah,
something like that. And so if that's
just
the
one arcade
case,
up. Yeah.
yeah,
If they do come out with WrestleFest, we're definitely gonna have to get. I'm gonna have to get me one. Anybody ever played Power Move Pro Wrestling? I did. I played it, and it was cool. I love the Japanese wrestling games. Saturday Night Slam Masters. That's one I
yes, yes,
forgot on SNES.
that was
That
a
was one of my
Capcom
favorites.
game. Yeah,
Oh, so yeah, that was kind of a Power Pro Wrestling game, and so I mean, yeah. How did I forget Saturday Night Slam Masters? Because I
oh,
used to play that like
it
crazy.
it was actually on my mind, and then you kind of started talking about something else, but I was about to say it. And but no, that's a really fun game.
Awesome. Well, go ahead and plug your podcast there, Jay, so they can check it out. Uh, Marty Jannetty and Leo Rush. Slam Masters was a classic. It was arcade and any SNES. All right, so we kind of had the same deal on the N64. We're a little bit off on the PlayStation ones.
That's okay.
PlayStation 2, what was your favorite wrestling game on PlayStation 2?
PlayStation 2. So I mentioned SmackDown on PlayStation 1. From that point on, they had me hooked. So going on into PlayStation 2, I was all SmackDown. Just Bring It, which was the first one of that, I guess, that little trilogy that came after. I think it was Shut Your Mouth came after, and then it was, of course, Here Comes the Pain, and then they had the SmackDown versus Raw series that came afterwards. But to start off, the very first game that I got with the PlayStation 2, I want to say it was Christmas of either 2000 or 2001. It was 2001, and it was Just Bring It. And man, I played
Yep.
it so much. Now at this time, WWF had already bought out WCW. And I remember I used to I wish they had the WCW characters on here, but back then, they started making the game like a year or two before, and so once they already got started, they couldn't just port over the new addition to the roster, and so I would create, all the WCW wrestlers, and that's where I really got my love to just create, and which kind of carried on into my adult years, but. Yeah, just bring it, man. Just and that ECW roster that they had. I loved playing with Tajiri. I love playing with the Hardy Boys. Especially the graphics back then was superior, man. You do the Swanton Bomb with Jeff Hardy. It looked so much better. And we weren't used to seeing that type of those type of graphics until that point.
It really wasn't, and just bring it. But Shannon's got a question. Do you play newer consoles, newer gen consoles, such as Xbox?
I do. I don't play Xbox. I'm either a Switch or PS5. Last year, I really dove in a lot into 2K24. If some of y'all remember, I was creating a lot of the independent wrestlers along the Gulf Coast, and then I just got burnt out with it. And I'll tell you, it wasn't so much. Now, I did get a lot of requests, people messaging me, and I got to know a lot of people that way. But the biggest thing was the game was so broken that I would, and it was, I don't know if you're familiar with Kerry Grow, but man, I
Yeah.
spent a lot of time to get his guy right. And then 2K, the developer for the wrestling game, they released an update and then it became all buggy, it was all glitched, and when you would try to download a character on community creations, it would say content damage or something like that. And so I was like, you know what, I put way too much time into this for it to just glitch out. And so I didn't buy this year's edition with, I think Roman Reigns was on the cover, and I may eventually, but as far as modern consoles on the PlayStation, I um I play really sports games. College football 25 is what I played a lot, and the Spider-Man games. But on the Switch, that's probably what gets the most utilization. That's our family console. That's something that man we could put in a Mario game. Let's for example Mario Kart, and me, my wife, and my son will all play that. So
Jay, give me this Wrestling Unleashed podcast. Check it out. Jay's a great
yeah, I'm gonna
guy.
check that out.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Oh my gosh, yeah, we can't talk. We got to talk about NBA Jam. Showtime was
Oh
great
yeah.
too, but NBA Jam was legendary. Did you ever
Yeah.
play it?
Yes, matter of fact, I have it. I have the tournament edition for both
Oh
Genesis and
yeah.
Super Nintendo, and that's a game. You know, they didn't have many good sports games back then. Like especially if you play some of the sports games today, it's hard to go back and play those. But NBA Jam is timeless. I mean, you can pick up and play today and have a blast. If you have a young kid, like I have a 6 year old, he can play NBA Jam, not even know who these players are, and have a good time.
Oh yeah, because I mean it's and then when you look back at hold on just one second. But when you look back at like NBA Jam and you look at all the legendary like legends, the Hall of Famers that are in these games, and you're like, wow. Like the 90s, the 80s and the 90s really created some of the greatest basketball players of all time.
Who was your
And
guy? Like, was you a big NBA fan back then? Like, did you have
oh,
your
I've
favorite player?
always been. I'm a big NBA fan now. I've always been a big NBA fan. So you're gonna laugh once again
Okay, all right.
because I'm off the grid kind of. Now I'm an Alabama fan. When it comes to sports, I'm Alabama, and this is where it's going to be funny. NBA Jam. Oh yeah, the arcade game was great as well. But all right, so I'm an Alabama fan. Roll Tide all day long. But back in the 90s, my favorite player, well, was Charles Barkley.
Okay.
And my favorite team will never win nothing, the Atlanta Hawks, which made a trade today. I hadn't checked out the trade. But I couldn't stand Jordan. I couldn't stand Kobe Bryant. I couldn't stand I loved Reggie Miller. And I was not a big. I'm not a big fan of LeBron. LeBron's not even on any of these guys' levels. I mean, Jason Kidd is above LeBron in my opinion. I think LeBron grew up in a soft NBA and hadn't achieved it. Do I respect Jordan, yes, Jordan's the greatest player that's ever played the game, no doubt, in my opinion. But
And
Charles
you'll be
Barkley is
right.
my, huh?
I said you'll be right. Now, I'm
Yeah.
a Michael Jordan guy.
Well, here's my thing. My cousin was a very big Michael Jordan fan, and I was a Charles Barkley fan. We watched the finals in '93. I won't ever forget it when Charles Barkley threw his hands out. He goes, "God wants me to win this championship," and then the next night Jordan wins the championship. So, you know, that was the thing. Jordan was unstoppable. There was nobody that could touch him, and they still couldn't. Even in this day, the NBA back then was a lot more physical than it is
You
now.
nailed it. Yeah, I was gonna go there if you didn't, but it was all this, I don't even know what you want to call it. Like it's acting, really, what it is. One little bump, and oh my gosh, put me on IR. Um, I can't even follow the Pelicans anymore. I know that I don't know if you follow the Pelicans or anything like that, but
I follow
man,
him a little bit, but
dude,
it's not.
I invested money. Dude, I was about to be a season ticket holder, and it's just because man, Zion Williamson, and before that, it was Anthony Davis. And I've tried and tried to get into the modern day basketball, and I would get good seats, and it's just you would go, and the best player on the team isn't even playing, and it's just and like Zion, there was times where he was on this he won't play back-to-back games, but he'll play a away game. And now that it's, in a home game, you would think that he would want to suit up for the home base. But no, man, he's in street clothes, or sometimes he's not even there at all. I'm just done with modern day basketball.
Yeah, I
Um,
have to. Dennis Rodman being able to change his hair color and NBA hang time in '64. That was great. And Dennis Rodman, one of the greatest Tetris. Uh, we're we're talking about everything. We're talking about anything and everything. All right, yeah, the modern day NBA is terrible, and everybody sits here and LeBron James has to talk about how great he is. I never heard Jordan say he was great. I
he-
just
the
I saw him
results,
win.
yeah, the results spoke for itself.
Um, that's just my thing. Like, all right, you look back at the NBA in the '90s, and let's look at the '93 to '95 era, and that's when '94, '95 was when Jordan was gone. But you had Akeem Olajuwon, you had Matumbo, you had Sean Kemp, Gary Payton.
Karl
I mean,
Malone.
Karl Malone, John Stockton. Now you look at it, and everybody's trying to put LeBron James as a king, and he never won a championship. And I know they're going to say, "Oh, well, Jordan didn't win it by himself either." No, but the thing about it is, Jordan's not the one touting himself as the greatest of all time either.
Yeah.
People tell him he's the great. Patrick Ewing, that was another good one too. Yes. Uh, Here we go. We're still stuck in Donkey Kong Country. What did you think of Donkey Kong Country? That was one of the greatest games too.
So the thing about Donkey Kong was when you played it for the first time, when you saw that game for the first time, it looked completely different to any other game. Just the type of
Yes.
graphics that they were able to pull off in that. But I got frustrated with it, man. Just especially those barrel cannons, trying to time
Yes.
that. My wife absolutely loves Donkey Kong. I have it on my shelf, all three of them. I have Donkey Kong Country complete in box only for her. Because as far as me, it's like I think I'm a pretty cool, calm, and collected guy until I play Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I agree too. He's not better than Curry either. Hell,
Oh,
LeBron James is probably not better than Delonte West.
why are we even talking about LeBron, man? Come on. That's
Yeah.
something we can agree on that we don't like LeBron.
Yeah, we don't. So anyway, Donkey Kong Country. My favorite part in that was remember when you got into the mines, and you had the cart and you had to jump
Oh
to do
yeah.
that. I love that. That was
Oh,
my favorite part of the whole game.
but man, you had to time it, and yeah, it's a fun game, and really great game. It's just it took some skill and it took some patience. You might be playing that same level for quite some time.
Oh, you be playing that level for some days sometimes.
Yeah.
Haters unite. Uh, let's see. That's where I like Donkey Kong comes from. All right, so here's another thing. All right, so we moved in. We got to PlayStation 2. We talked about, here comes the pain. Just bring it. Just bring it. Like when Just Bring It come out, God, man, I was so excited for that. Even though it was so different from the previous SmackDowns. And when I got Just Bring It, like you said, the graphics at that time, that was it. That was the legit stuff. And then we got to Here Comes the Pain, them Raw versus SmackDown. After Here Comes the Pain, it was kind of hard because Here Comes the Pain was legendary, and I'll give that. But after that, now I'm talking about any console. Paperboy was better. It was.
I think he's just trolling now.
He's always trolling. What are you talking about just now? Trolling. Let me see here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time. Oh my gosh, I got that on the Switch Mini or Switch. What is it?
Oh
It's
yeah,
not.
it's the wait, oh, you talking about the Cowabunga edition where you can play all the
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
okay, yeah.
yeah. I got that. Never got to play, but I hear it's one of the best beat 'em ups on
It
SNES. It,
is.
it is. It is.
It's difficult, but it's very
Oh,
good.
it's
It's
very difficult.
and if you like modern games, I tell you what, Shredder's Revenge is a good one to play. I mean, it takes all the best elements of your Ninja Turtle series and puts them together in one game. It's not as difficult as Turtles in Time.
Let's see here. Almost midnight. Last retro. Let's see. Looking at some stuff here. SmackDown versus Raw 2006. It was good.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would agree with that. And the SmackDown versus Raw series, they were great games. But I mean, if you ask me which ones I play the most, it's going to be the Just Bring It, was it Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain. Now, once we got into the SmackDown versus Raw, in my life, I kind of went through a different phase. I kind of got away from the wrestling for quite some time, and I thought I was too cool for wrestling. I know there's some diehard wrestling fans out there. I think Koloff's one of them. Like, what you mean too cool, man? Wrestling's life. But no, there was a time where just if I told my friends I watched wrestling, they're like, "You watch that stuff?" Like, my dad used to give me a hard time all the time. Like, man, watch a real man sport like boxing. So I would, I kind of got into boxing for a little bit, but during that period where the SmackDown versus Raw series, I missed a lot of that. I did play kind of going back, but I played a lot of sports games because I got real heavy in the baseball, real heavy in the football, and in my immature mind, I thought I was too cool for wrestling.
well, we've gotten far enough into this talking about. I don't know what we've talked about so far, but we're going to get even further into it. Because see, I've moved on to the IPAs now, so it's going to start going down here from Castlevania. Oh my gosh, that that is a legendary one. Did you play Ghouls and Goblins?
I did. Now that's something I played, in recent years. I didn't play that a lot as a kid.
I tried to play it, but it didn't work.
Yeah. Matter
It
of
was
fact, Symphony of the Night, that's something I just got recently for my birthday, and I don't even know what my birthday month is, in May last month, and so that was a game I've always wanted to own, and but yes, Sing Fit, you're right on that one.
all right. So we got a couple things coming up. Tape trade, and I'm about to get into that. Chambers. It was good, but you're smoking chicken fried. If you think you get we get by a SmackDown game haters opinion. I agree with that. Final Fantasy series. What? All right, Steven Dixon. You played Final Fantasy? Did you ever play Final Fantasy Retro?
So I did. I want to say it was seven that I played, and it was Final Fantasy VII. You, it's one of those RPGs that you just either love it or you hate it. For me, I was a very hyperactive kid. I don't know if I was diagnosed. Well, I know I wasn't diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, but like those kind of games, I couldn't stay still to play them. I needed something with action. I needed something to just catch my interest real quick, and then I was going to do something else. And so another thing, when I was a kid, I played video games, but especially not how it is nowadays, where you would go inside and play for hours. I would play probably 30 minutes to an hour, and then I was outside playing, getting into trouble or something. But yeah, games like Final Fantasy, great games, great series, but just not very nostalgic for me because it just didn't hold my attention long enough.
I will say this, MT2. Yes, Raw 2 was great. I enjoyed that. I spent a lot of time playing it. And Jay, you're right. I did try to attempt to read that, but I'm way past that tonight. Never was a fan of turn-based games. I really wasn't either. I mean, the ADHD did kick in back then, and like I had to be entertained at all times. I couldn't sit there and read the screen. We didn't get those cutscenes that you get now in games. You had to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, do this and do that, and then you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I read
But
enough in school. I didn't want to read when I got home and play video games. Give me some action.
exactly. Let me see. I'm trying to give me a hack and a slash over a turn based any day. Yeah, I'll say that. I'll second that. Yeah, I could play them long either. I couldn't play. Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy to me, it sounded cool. The way that they made it feel, the way they marketed it on TV, like made it really feel good. Okay, and then you get there and you start playing it, you're like, okay, this is boring. Let me find something that can feed my need right now. I wasn't big into RPGs either. Let's see, but the gameplay and graphics wasn't. Those are important factors for games. Yeah. All right, now Jay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. You are young, so when it comes to graphics, we were happy with anything back in the day.
Yeah, yeah, I think we addressed that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it is today. Like I have more fun playing retro games than I do modern day games. I will play modern day games, but I'm not wowed by all the new graphics. Oh, you got to get this because this processor is going to produce the best graphics. I'm not really into all of that. Give me something that's a good made game. And nowadays, I mean, you spend all this money for we talk about game prices. You spend all this money for a game. It's an unfinished game, and what good is great graphics if you have to get all these updates first? And then a lot of these games are money grabs. So like you got to buy the DLC, you got to buy the different. It's a lot. So give me my old retro games any day. Yeah, the graphics may not be there, but man, the fun factor, longevity, that's what I look for.
Oh, I can go back and play Mario and all that. Sing Pet and now Mac Danks brought it up. Do y'all play on PC or Steam? I'm gonna say this. I'll let you retro get into it. My thing is, I if it ain't retro, I'm really not playing it now. I don't even.
Yeah.
I honestly don't even own a new gen console at this point. But go ahead.
No, the thing with PC is I've been told by all my closest friends that PC is where it's at, but and I take them on their word, but that's a rabbit hole that I'm not ready to go down because I watch them. They'll spend thousands of dollars to get their computer, their PC where they need it, and then 6 months down the road, they're dropping more money into it, and it's a never ending project. And so for me, I just for one, I don't have enough time to actually play where I would dive into PC. Now the Steam Deck is pretty cool, but like I said, it's a rabbit hole that I'm not sure if I'm ready to go down or even willing to go down at this point. But I've seen some of the stuff you can do with PC, especially just the different hacks and mods and stuff. And you can basically take any game and modify it. I mean, there's so many smart people out there that know how to take the new, let's say, for example, WWE 2K25, and reskin it to whatever generation you want, and it looked incredible. Have all the authentic music, the finishers, all of that, and that seems cool. But I'm just, I don't know. I have a full time job. I have a family. I have a hobby, and I try to do other stuff in between. PC would consume me too much.
Dude, I got consumed by the PC back in '98, and that was before you could do all the stuff you could do now. So, like, do you remember? All right, man, we're not going to get off video games. We're going to have to bring you back on for wrestling soon because we're just going to have to talk. We're just going to talk video games. Theme Hospital, Theme Park, all those games. Did you ever hear about those?
I did. Those, yeah, I didn't play them. Matter of fact,
I
you
did
know,
all
yeah.
night long. I got Final Fantasy games, TH. I know how you are, Mac Dank. I know how you are. My thing was like when I was younger, like I wanted those like occupation games, like you do the theme park, you do the themed hospital, Sim City, stuff like that. I love that.
What was cool about that is it really embraces your creativity, man.
Yes.
I mean, you can imagine stuff like, and nowadays there's stuff like Minecraft and things, but just to be able to create your own universe or your own, or basically imagine that you're in there, and yeah, the concept is really cool, but just not something that I messed around with a whole lot.
We have not talked about the Def Jam games yet. Uh, what's your thoughts? Did you ever play any of those? Because those were inventive too, and like they really captured a different style in gaming at that time as well.
They did, and that was during that time where, I mean, pop culture, wrestling, video games were all kind of meshed together, and I didn't play them a whole lot. I had friends that had them, and like, hey, you want to play some Def Jam, and I'll play. But at that point, I was kind of getting out of to wrestling, and I was getting more into sports. But I'll tell you what, they make a lot of money today. Those Def Jam games, I have people that was it Fight for New York, man. People ask for it all the time, and when I do get them, they sell very well.
I, oh my God, see, Pet. I'm sure you do. You're like a worm.
All right,
Worm.
I'm gonna give his Dreamcast to somebody else.
There is a game called Two Point Hospital made by Sega. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. I remember the prison game they come out with. What was it? Prison Tycoon or something like that. It was funny. That was a good one. Yeah, they were wrestling games. The Def Jam stuff.
Yeah.
The roller coaster tycoon games are on. Yeah. Okay. Everyone burn a copy of Playboy Mansion on. Oh yes. Let's see here. All right. Fight for New York. Yeah, that was a good version.
I'll tell you something that I'm getting into recently is into the light gun games like Time Crisis. Yeah, was you ever into that?
Yes, I love that game. I used to play it in the arcades a lot.
Yeah, Virtua Cop, that was a great arcade port that went to the Sega Saturn, which, man, I played that a lot. But recently, I've been getting into the Time Crisis games for PS2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
I had man, that's a lot. That's a while back. I love those games. Though
yeah.
I like Splinter Cell too. But yeah, Time Crisis, man. Back in then, I mean, that was a fun game too. Let's see what he got. What Mac Dank saying here. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto was a great game back in the day. I remember playing on the PS1. It was terrible, like
Oh
the
yeah.
overview, but it was still Grand Theft Auto 3 will always be legendary to me.
And for me, I would say Vice City.
Vice City too.
It was mainly kind of like that retro nostalgia feel to it, but the music, man, the soundtracks, changing your radio station.
Silicon Dave, if you didn't know it, yes, Simon Phillips is a beast. One of the greats on the independent scene. If you have not liked this video, hit that like button now. And also, subscribe to us on Facebook. 99 cents a month, and you get a chance to win free merchandise each and every month. Look at this new shirt. Look at that. Retro, what do you think? That is absolutely brilliant, is it not?
Dude,
Off
that
the
is
rip.
off the rails, man. Get you a shirt. I need to get me a shirt. I mean, here I am.
You definitely
But
do. San Andreas, Vice City, yes, and 3. Those are the top ones. My favorite is 3 only because it was first. Vice City, because I just loved it, and it's got Ray Liotta in it as well. So let's see what else we got. Sleeping Dogs. I love Vice City. Can't wait to see Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah, when is Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out?
is it next year? I mean,
I think it is.
I want to say that. I mean, for a while they kept just kicking the can down the road. Just kept pushing it, dangling in front of the gamer fans out there, and just delay
Mac
after
Grant
delay.
says
Yeah, I
next year.
won't say it's next year.
Yeah, I figured it was, but man, it's like they did with 5. They took forever on it as well, so it was just. All right, let me see what else we got. All right, anybody got any other questions for retro here? Is there any Shimu better? He's trolling. Oh, it'll be there. It'll be there. Trust me. It's probably already there. You just hadn't found your way to your mailbox yet. So it's pushed to next year.
Yeah.
Oh, Sing Pet's buying a shirt. It'll be there next week, he said. All right. So anybody's got any questions for retro? We're going to start winding down here in a minute because I got to be able to do clips, got to
Yeah.
do business. And I'm going to just go ahead and throw this out there. We talked nothing but video game night, maybe some video game movies and stuff. I got to get you back on for wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we get you
Matter of
back?
fact, that's what I was most excited about. I mean, if we have a few minutes, I mean, we can kind of
Yeah,
run through it.
let's do it. All right. How
Yeah.
did you find your love into wrestling, and then tell us how you found your way into independent wrestling?
So, I grew up a huge Batman fan. I'm still a big Batman fan today, and so just kind of just putting that out there because this is going to explain how I got into to wrestling. Well, there was a guy named Sting in the 80s and
Who's
90s that
Sting?
just Steve Borden, but yeah. So
Who's Steve
Sting.
Borden?
Uh,
Steve
anyway,
Boredom?
Borden.
Oh, I thought
Um,
you said boredom.
okay, but yeah, so Sting, man, I heard about him with the blonde hair and everything, but I want to say it was somewhere in 1997. I saw some kind of marketing on TV. I don't know if it was like a replay of what was happening on Monday Night Nitro. But I saw this guy coming down um, from the rafters with this cape looking thing coming down with his bat and just beating up all these guys. I'm like, that dude kind of looks like Batman. And so and then I kind of watched him. I'm like, wait, he looks like that guy from the Crow movie. And so I started watching wrestling, and I was intrigued with the storyline, Sting versus the NWO. And I mean, if you remember in 1997, there was so much buildup going to
Oh, yeah.
Starcade '97. It was everywhere, man. It was
Goldberg's
every
undefeated streak.
oh,
All that.
dude,
Yes.
and so that's what caught my attention was Sting. I was like, all right, my connection was he's like this vigilante, you know, trying to clean up, the wrestling company, trying to get the bad guys out, trying to defeat evil. And so I started watching because of Sting, and then I, just like everything else, you learn to have appreciation for other elements, not just that main guy, but for other wrestlers and other types of wrestlers. The cruiserweights really caught my eyes, my attention. Ultimo Dragon. I've always been a big fan of either people that paint their face or masked wrestlers. And so because of that, because I would watch a lot of wrestling on TV, and we didn't grow up with a lot of money, man. I guess you could say we were, poor or whatever the case is. But um, my dad took me to a independent show, which at the time was, I want to say it was Gulf Coast Wrestling, not Gulf State Wrestling. It was Gulf Coast Wrestling, and they had like your Mustang Mikes and a guy named Bronco Bob and Stone Man, and that was our local wrestling promotion. And so I would start to go to that show. And then there was another show, I want to say in either 98 or 99, either ICW, but there was a Doink the Clown guy that came, and I was like, I remember him from the video games. And so it just caught my attention, and I really had a big appreciation for the independent guys. And I don't know if Kolof's still in the chat. He's probably going to start talking trash. But Mustang Mike was our local guy that he was kind of like our Hulk Hogan. And I remember he came visit my elementary school, which our mascot was the Mustang. So it just made sense. Hey, bring this wrestler in named Mustang Mike. And dude, I remember all the kids just gravitating towards him and just like, oh man, I mean, he's massive, especially to a third grader or a fourth grader. And so, it's just the way that the local independent wrestlers would connect with the community. And it was something that I would never be able to have with a Sting or Kevin Nash or Goldberg. But man, I can have it with my local guys, my local independent wrestlers. And so fast forward, I get real big into wrestling. The video games, I start playing it more and more. And then there's a period where I just get out of it. I thought I was too cool to watch wrestling. And then in my early adult years, I would kind of tune in, especially I want to say in 2016, Sting finally signed with the WWE. So I started kind of watching a little bit. But then in 2023, well, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I did go to a wrestling show my senior year in high school. And that was probably one of the wildest things that I've ever witnessed at an independent show. And where a wrestler was actually, and this wasn't a work, he actually was trying to fight a fan. And they took it out to the parking lot. And it was a big old ordeal. But from that point, in 2008, I didn't go to another wrestling show until 2023. And WWE came to Lafayette, Louisiana, and it was their SmackDown show. It was June of 2023. My company paid for me and a customer to go, and so we had really good seats. We went to SmackDown, and I'm like, man, I missed this. And I heard that there was Cajun Heat coming up the following month in July, and I had some free tickets to go there. So I had three seats. I took my son, took a friend of mine, and I just enjoyed it, man. I just sat there and soaked it in and started having flashbacks of my childhood. My son, first wrestling show he ever been to. He's 4 years old at the time. He's loving it. And there's this masked Russian guy that all the fans are booing. I mean, dude, they're calling him Stinky Booty. They calling him all kind of stuff. Well, intermission happens, and my son is kind of scared to go get pictures with any other wrestler. I'm like, man, you don't want to go meet him to, get an autograph, get a picture? And he pointed at Vladimir Koloff and said, I want to take a picture with him. He looks like Spider-Man. And so I'm like, okay, let's go. And so I go up to this guy. I mean, he's huge. I mean, this is July of 2023. I mean, you know, he's not
It's
the
400
big
pounds.
Koloff.
No, no,
Well,
hey, don't hold back.
yeah, no, he was already losing weight. I mean, he was getting in
Well, he
shape.
was in the transformation, but he had
Yeah,
not got there.
he was not quite where he is today. But he's like, hey, I want to take a picture with him. So I go up, and I'm expecting this guy because I mean, he just insulted the entire venue. I mean, he called us all kind of different things, and I was like, man, he's not gonna want to. I know how this works. He's not gonna want to take a picture. He's gonna, he's got his merchandise, but you know how heels are. Well, no, he said, oh, absolutely, I'll take a picture. And dude, he was so professional. And I was like, all right, okay. I didn't come here for him, but man, my son loves him. And then from that point on, my son just he wanted to keep going to the shows. We would see the advertisement, the flyers on the businesses, and hey, I want to go to that one. And so I reached out to Koloff, and I was like, hey, my son's birthday's coming up November 28th. Would you do like a special promo video or something for him? Tell him happy birthday. And I didn't, I mean, I didn't think he would entertain it, but he did. And I was like, really? Okay. You know what? I need to start investing in these guys more. I mean, this is an experience that you can't ever get with WWE, but man, you can get it with your local wrestling promotion. And so, although he was the heel and although he was the bad guy, just like, you know what? If he, because he took a liking to my son, he got me. And I'll probably be, from a fan's perspective, I would say that's the best advice that I can give independent wrestler that's trying to sell merch, that's trying to connect. Um, get the kids and you'll get the parents 9 times out of 10. That's what happened. I'm only a Koloff fan today because first my son. And so from that point on, we go to a show for my son's birthday in November of 20, yeah, November of 23. And then, I mean, we've been full blown and on the independent scene from that point on. And through that, I've been able to get introduced to all these other great talents. And I mean, we can go on and on about it. I don't know if you have anything you want to say, but that's how I got it started back into the independent wrestling scene is really through my kid.
Well, first off, this is my show, so yeah, I do have something to set
Yeah.
down to share. I'll say this: most of these people, and you named Koloff, there's several others that do care about the peons out there. But the problem is, people are too worried about popping the boys in the back instead of the people that are paying tickets. You know, they don't care about the people that are paying tickets. It's about what move I can do. Nobody gives two rats' asses what move you can do. Once again, excuse my language.
But I agree with you.
It's
It's
about leaving an impression. If you can get that kid, that's what it's about. But oh no, I gotta look cool. I was bullied in school, so I gotta look cool now.
yeah.
I gotta be Mr. I did this move. I did a shooting star press. I landed on my head. Yeah, whatever. Nobody cares. Anyway, I'm sorry. Ooh, Sing Pet got something for Bryant J.B. Williamson. It's a lot of lines there. That is bars. Well, Simon Phillips, we know what you think.
But here's the thing about Simon. I'm glad he said something. He's one of those rare talents. It doesn't matter what comes out his mouth, his result speaks for itself. He doesn't have to care about the kids. He doesn't have to care about the fans. We know how good he is. Now we may boo him. We may give him a hard time, but man, he's I think you said it. He's got the it factor. Whatever it is, he has it. So yeah, Simon, he can say whatever he wants.
Simon's great. Like, look, I'm gonna just say this, and I may, people are not gonna agree with everything I say. People are gonna talk. I'm a Koloff this, and I'm Koloff that, or I'll go ahead and name you some of the best talents in independent wrestling in the South that I've been around. Simon Phillips is on that list. Simon Phillips has been on that list for years. Not just
He's in my
now.
top 5, man.
Yeah,
I'm a
Simon
fan.
Phillips. Oh, I'm a big fan of Simon Phillips, but not just now. I mean, I go back years with Simon. We talk about Braxton, talk about Jordan Ja, Christian Blake. Christian Blake's one of my favorites. Christian Blake for years has been one of my favorites. Vladimir Koloff, one of the top talents in the world. When I name talents, I'm naming people that I know could go out there right now and go one-on-one with top-tier talent. And when I say top-tier talent, I mean like WWE, AEW, and stuff like that. I put these guys up there because I had no doubt, and I'd bet my house on it that the guys that I just named right now could go out there one-on-one with those talents and tear the house down. Shook White, you're one of them just because you'll beat my brakes off. No, I'm just joking. But you're another great talent, and people don't look at it. And I'm sorry, I want to steal this just 1 second. People don't look when you look at a wrestling poster, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to get to all these comments. The Nightmare Jeremiah, no doubt. Nightmare Jeremiah has been around for a long time. Great talent. He's retiring this year, but you can't touch him. We're on 13 likes. Somebody, we got so many people on this live. Hit that like button. At least one person hit the like button. Get us off 13. I don't like 13. But anyway, here's the thing. I would put any of those guys that I said against anybody on a different level, and they would hang with them. Now, I am going to tout Vladimir Koloff a little bit more. He's my client. Why wouldn't I? But I would put Vladimir Koloff, Wes Warren, Simon Phillips, Braxton Hunter, Christian Blake, Jordan Ja. I mean, the list goes on. And if I don't mention your name, it's not that I should have. I mean, it's just or I missed it. It's just that there's so many that I can put in there. I don't know if he reminds me of Lance Storm, Jarrett McKenzie, because Simon's got more personality in his left nut than Lance Storm did. Now, Lance Storm was a great talent, but Simon Phillips should be on TV. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, the thing about Simon Phillips is you try to find a guy that maybe he's
Oh, Nick Wonder, you
similar
did
to.
this. You deserve
Yeah,
to be on there. I like you
yeah.
too, Nick.
You try to find a good comparison for Simon Phillips, but the reality is he's his own guy. Um, yeah, at first I
And
thought
he
I kind
don't
of
care
saw.
what anybody thinks.
No, he doesn't care, but that's what makes him great. He's not looking to make friends. He's looking to really just elevate himself to the very top. And at first I thought he was kind of like a Austin Theory type guy, but I'm like, you know what? I'm more intrigued with this guy than I ever would be with Austin Theory. And so, and you rattled off a list, and that is probably identical to my list. I don't like doing top fives and put them in a certain order, but
I do when I want to piss people off. I do
yeah,
top
yeah.
fives and top tens.
But like, man, there's so many of them, and it's a shame that the guys in our region, and when I say our region, Louisiana, I say Mississippi, Alabama, parts of Florida, even Texas, they don't get the recognition that they really deserve. I've been to WWE, and I've been to a lot of promotions here in the Gulf South region, and those guys you rattled off, they're more impressive than a lot of things. Lot of the matches that I've seen at the WWE. You have these local fans that they'll kind of like to point out when there's a botch. Well, I've been to the WWE shows and there's botches. Guys
All
that
day
head
long.
and there's guys that headline WWE shows that, dude, they're the biggest jerks to the fans. And I get it. Sometimes it's part of their deal, their character, their gimmick or whatever. But man, just there's something special about independent wrestling, and now I see why fans like Jarrett, why he just watches independent wrestling. I like a little variety. I kind of mix around, but at the end of the day, I really like independent wrestling the most. But yeah, this we we have it made so good right now, especially in the current state of independent wrestling, that I don't think we really know how good we have it. You have all these promotions popping up left and right. It's hard to make it to every show. I mean, there's multiple shows going at the same night a lot of weekends, but enjoy 'em while we can. I think about some of the big names when I was a kid. The generation before me would talk about like the Von Erichs and Junkyard Dog and how they used to watch them locally and all of that. Well, that's how I'm going to be talking to my grandkids. I'm going to be talking about the West Warrens. I'm going to be talking about the Koloffs, the Simon Phillips, the Overboys. That's legends in my mind because I know what they're capable of, whether or not they make it to WrestleMania one day or not. they're legends in my book, and I believe my son recognizes that well. You know, when you could see a kid, and I'll give you a little spoiler. He wants independent wrestling birthday party. You know, he doesn't want WWE. Like, there's Cody Rhodes, there's, you know, Jey Uso, but for his birthday party this year, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get creative, but he wants to have, you know, the local guys. Um, I don't know, like, you know, like decorate a birthday cake or decorate a table, whatever. I'll have to figure it out, but that's
I
just the
think I
impact.
think we could probably make something like that
Yeah.
happen. When's the birthday?
It's gonna be in November. It's later towards the year.
November. I've
Yeah,
got a big announcement to make about November. We'll get to Sam Waits. Steve Anthony is one of the greatest. I'm not talking about guys that has been on this podcast that we know are great. You can talk about Steve Anthony, you can talk about Bordell Walker. I'm talking about guys. These are guys that we know are great. I'm trying to
yeah,
get it out there about, like, you know, the Christian Blakes, the Vladimir Koloffs, the Wes Warrens, the Braxton Hunters, and stuff like that, because, you know, not everybody knows that. And Super Dave, one of the greatest refs on the independent scene. Go check him out on Markout Moments. Here's Jarrett McKenzie, another, you know, great fan. He has not been to Lost Art, have you? Me and you have talked about this. You want to come to Lost Art. You do love the message and things that come with that with Lost Art.
yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing is the distance. Um, in 2024, we made an effort to kind of expand outside of Louisiana. AWA was the promotion that we supported
That
twice
was when
last
I
year.
owned it, right?
Yes, and I'll tell you what, you know, my first impression of you, Brandon, was at the Mississippi Rumble. We did not know what to expect. We were told by Koloff, hey, this is a show that because I've been telling at that time I was telling him, hey, let me know a good show and we'll make a like a little short vacation out of it. We'll get a hotel there. Well, it was in Ocean Springs, the Mississippi Rumble. We made, you know, a whole little trip out of it. But my first impression of you was you coming out before the show. Now you're the heel, you're the bad guy, brilliant ink and all of that, but you're interacting with my kid, and I'm like, man, this I love how he is with kids and stuff. Jordan Child comes find me, he's like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but he's actually the bad guy. You know, I was like, could have fooled me. But that was such a great show. Now I know it's one of the biggest shows that y'all had other than Celebration, but man, I was blown away because it was a rumble. You get a good look, a sample size of all the talent in that area, and I was so impressed. Angel Camacho, that guy to move the way he did, I'm like, what the world? It's just I thought Louisiana had, you know, supreme talent, just being biased, but going to Mississippi and seeing some of the Alabama guys and just seeing a different variety, it really blew my mind. And the hospitality, man, just y'all. I know it wasn't just us because we were coming from Louisiana, but it was special how welcome that we felt. I know this might have been a small little detail of what y'all did, but we were able to find our seats so easy because it had our name taped to the seats. And that might be for organization or for structure, but for us, it felt personal. It's like, man, we have our own seats with our name on it. We never got that kind of treatment anywhere else. And so it was very special. Matter of fact, we was like, man, we wish we lived closer. We would go to their shows every other week. I think y'all was running shows with it twice a month or something like
Twice a
that.
month, yeah.
Oh, dude, um, you had reached out to me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I love y'all's product. I want more of it." You know, just and as a fan, that's when you become more than just a fan. You're a customer, and you know you want to buy more of. You want to invest into it, and the hospitality goes a long way.
It really does. All right, Retro, got to get out of here. You hang in there. Let me close this out real quick. I'm going to bring him back. So have no worries with that. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but thank you for joining us. Check us out. We'll see you tomorrow night with Braxton Hunter. Y'all have a good
Lights blaze bright, it's a glorious sight. The champ of the mic owns the night. With a mind so slick and a suit so clean, he's running this ring like a wrestling machine. From gold-plated deals to jaw-dropping schemes, he's the mastermind of your wildest dreams. Stand up, take note, bow down if you can. It's the Brilliant Show with the Brilliant One.